What is going on, guys? Thank you for showing up for this video on how I lost 70 pounds using gear without destroying my health. And this is for the guys that are very interested in possibly trying gear and in the parabellum protocol and what we do here. So I want to give you guys a little bit of backstory, how I got into this whole world and why I started in the first place. So, I've worked out, kind of on and off my whole life. I started getting very consistent near the mid-20s, end of my 20s, but I still just never really got the results I always wanted, right? I grew up watching those movies, like Predator, Rocky, I wanted that kind of body, the six-pack abs, super lean, shredded, and I just never was able to get there, and I struggled for years trying to figure it out, and because it's such a process, right? If you don't know what you're doing, you're just going to make a lot of mistakes. And this is what I'm here to show you guys on how I got to my goal, right? So, just to give you a little bit more backstory. So last year, I decided I wanted to do a bodybuilding show, but I decided I was going to bulk first. So I started booking, and I did this without a coach, and I started bulking, and it soon it got pretty out of hand. I bulked for about 6 months, and I put on a lot more fat than muscle than I planned to, and it was just not ideal, right? So I ended up about 245 pounds. Let me show you guys a picture of that real quick. It'll be right here. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. So this is me at the end of the bulk, right there. This was me like right before that bulk, a little bit before, a couple months before, and this is me at the end of that bulk. So clearly I just did not know what I was doing. I put on way too much fucking fat, and I wasn't lean enough when I started my bulk. So I ended up at 245, and then we're going to scroll back up to here. And it was 245, and then it just did not, I realized that I had to cut a lot more than I wanted to. But I grew up, like I said, I grew up watching those movies, wanted that physique. And I had tried multiple diets and plans over the years trying to get to where I wanted to get to. I had hired different coaches as well. None got me where I really wanted to. I would say the one coach that did get me where I wanted to, he got me consistent. He changed my life with that. So I started working out with him. I paid for him for about 6 months. He got me super consistent. That's where I really started getting consistent in my late 20s with the gym, which is great. Just didn't give me that lean physique I was looking for. So my results were always pretty mediocre. Like I got a little bit leaner with that guy, but I just didn't look like how I wanted to look. And, I always noticed that I kind of had low energy, was always kind of depressed, that sort of thing. And I never really understood why. And even like with trying to build the muscle, right? It never got put on the way it should have. So even with that bulk, right, I felt like I was doing pretty much everything right. I probably did end up overeating, which is definitely what happened. But I felt like I was lifting heavy. I was getting stronger every week, but I still just didn't look like I had good muscle tone, And I just couldn't really understand why that was. 'Cause I knew there had to be an issue, right, underlying issue. And I knew something, I just felt like my effort was not matching my outcome here. That was pretty much my reality. So this is where we go to my blind spot. So I really thought, like training harder, like I said, during this bulk was the answer. And then I did overshoot my calories, and I've tried to go ahead and these results, right? Get either leaner, put on more muscle. Whenever I did try to do this, right, I either thought eating less or eating more would fix it, right? So with my cuts, I always was in too much of a steep deficit. And with bulking, I just put on way too much. I didn't track as well as I should have. But the one thing I really realized is I didn't really track my hormones. I didn't realize how important they were, right? As I've gotten older, I realized hormones are to actually building the body, building the physique that you actually want. It's vital, right? A lot of people don't realize that. So if you have low testosterone, how much harder it makes it to build muscle. So much harder, dude. like it's almost impossible, right? If you have low T, because you have low energy, you have less drive, your body's not gonna just build on muscle. It's not gonna want to eat. You're not even gonna want to go to the gym consistently, right? Um, so that, and then I didn't understand either insulin resistance. As you can see right here, insulin resistance. So that's a newer topic to me, right? I learned about that last year. I didn't realize that as you bulk, as you eat more, your body tends to become more insulin resistant. Insulin resistant pretty much is your body does not use carbs correctly. It's not burning them for energy. It's just storing them as fat. And if you are insulin sensitive, that means it's using the carbs as energy and burning it, which is what we want, right? So I never really understood that until last year. I didn't realize how important that was to like lose fat and build muscle. So here's the turning point, right? So I realized, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get my hormones tested. So I had gotten my blood work done a couple times. First time I noticed I had really low T, lower T, was like in the 300s. And then a couple months later, I went back just to check it again, and now it's like 280. And the doctors were like, "Oh, you're fine. You're fine. You're within the range." And I was like, "Well, what's the range?" They're like, "Oh, from like 260 to like 800 for your age." I'm like, "What?" So that never made any sense to me. And I brought this up to some friends of mine, and they were just like, "That does seem a little odd. That like the scale, or for testosterone for our age is just that wild, you know." So when I did that bulk, I was finishing up my bulk when I went and got that blood work done, and I saw that my bloods were pretty low. So what I did was I stopped guessing, right, and I fucking took control. And I knew because I put on too much fat and I wanted to get into a bodybuilding show, I needed help. So that's when I hired my coach, Eric. Big dog. Shout out my dog. So he was able to understand blood work, hormones, and just compounds, right? So I wanted to get into some gear. And I showed him my blood work, and he was like, "Well, your testosterone is super, super low." He's like, "We should get that optimized, man." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Dude, testosterone replacement therapy. And then we can talk about doing some cycles after." So I was like, "All right, man, I'm definitely interested in that." So after consulting with him, I went to a TRT clinic. I got prescribed testosterone replacement therapy. I ran that for a month or two just to see, and then I started feeling better, right? My energy's coming back up. I'm not as depressed. Like, it was pretty crazy, like how much better I felt on testosterone. I don't think people understand, like, it's a vital compound for us men to have in our bodies, for us to achieve the things that we want to achieve. It makes us successful, gives us drive. So, and then I told him I wanted to compete in a bodybuilding show, and he was like, "All right, cool, let's get it done." So what we did was we started out on TRT doses, and then he got me my meal plan, and then we got my training right. So a lot of people, I think, realize they think that steroids can't do all the work, right? They don't. You need to be able to have a structure in place to run these things properly so that you get the best results possible. Because if you are just freeballing it willy-nilly, I promise you the results will not be good. You could end up fatter. You could really ruin your health. It's just not worth it if you're not consistently putting in the dialed-in work, the dialed-in nutrition, the dialed-in training, doing what you need to be doing. It's just not worth it. So Eric set me up with some structured training, structured nutrition, and then we got in that hormone optimization that I mentioned as well, and then everything finally started clicking, which is great. We had also found a new compound that had, came out, was called retatrutide. So what that was going to do is this is a triple agonist GLP-1. So for those of you who don't know what GLP-1s are, Ozempic, that sort of thing, right? So but Reta is a little bit different. It's GLP-3. It's 3 different receptors. It's your insulin sensitivity, it's your glucagon, and it helps with your appetite suppression. Helps with food noise, so you're not always breaking your diet. And as we all know, it's hard when you're cutting, you get cravings, all that. It's super, super hard. But this compound completely reset my metabolism, so I became super insulin sensitive. So that means my body was burning those carbs how I needed to burn them. and using them for energy in the gym, right? So that we also planned out my cycle, right? So we started doing testosterone, and we did primobolan. So we ran 350 milligrams of testosterone and 300 mgs of primobolan, and we did that for my whole cycle, and we titrated up just a little bit. So my max dose was 450 of each of those, and then all the way up. And then in the last 4 weeks of prep for my show, we tossed in the oral Anavar, and that is going to be, like I said, it's an oral. Anavar is really what puts the finishing touches on your body, right? On your physique. It's going to make you harder. It's going to make you stronger. And it's going to make you leaner, cut out more leaner. And then we also, on top of that, we did swap out the Primo, right? Within the last 6 weeks of the prep, we swapped out Primo for Mastron, and we did Mastron at 400. And we did that because the Mastron is going to get you drier. It's going to get you a grainier look. It's awesome. I love that compound. And mind you, all of these are fairly low side effect compounds, right? And if there was any sides, we obviously know how to handle those because my coach, which luckily for me, I did not have any side effects. But anyway, all of these was a dialed-in protocol, right? All of this was dialed in with nutrition and training to create my bodybuilding physique. And this, when I did all this, led me to creating, I had already been an online fitness coach. This led me to creating the parabellum protocol and how I help guys optimize their hormones when people want to do gear. Which leads us here, parabellum protocol, baby. Those are going to be 3 steps. We got kill, forge, dominate. So with kill, what we're going to do is first, which is what I need to do, we're going to burn fat and reset. So we're going to remove what's blocking the progress. We're going to get that blood work done. We're going to find out and see if you have that low testosterone, see if you got some insulin resistance, if you got any bad lipids. And what we're going to do is analyze that blood work, and then we're going to start building our meal plans and what we can do to fix everything, right? So we're going to get you on a calorie deficit. We're going to start, obviously, doing a lifting protocol, nice structured lifting protocol, and cardio. You got to do it. Not endless cardio, but it will be cardio. And then what we're going to do is also, we're going to start improving our insulin sensitivity as well. And you can do this naturally. You do not need Retatrutide to do that, right? And then we are going to get you to stop bulking when you're fat, because I made that mistake, like I said, as we saw on the previous photo. I started bulking when I was too fat. And what this is going to do is going to create a lean, more responsive body ready to build that muscle you're looking to put on your frame. So now we're going to go step 2, baby. It's going to be forge, right? We're going to build muscle. But we're going to grow muscle without destroying your health. So what we're going to do is we're going to put you in a controlled surplus. And then we're going to do some progressive training with hormone optimization based on your blood work, right? So every compound is different. Every compound reacts to people's body differently. But we're going to read your blood work. We're going to optimize it. We're going to get your results optimized, and then we are going to create a protocol just for you that is going to get you to build that muscle and get you that lean physique you are looking for, all based on your body. It's going to be used. Everything is going to be strategically used. We're not just going to be reckless and throwing a bunch of stuff in, just like how a lot of these guys are. A lot of people just kind of go in and toss in this, toss in that, and then that's how you really mess up ruin your health. You can get really sick, or you could, God forbid, you fucking die, or you just get like really fucking fat. Like, you cannot. This has to be measured and optimized for the best results possible. And the way that we do that is we're also going to be getting blood work, right? But we're not going to be throwing a bunch of compounds in at one time. We're going to introduce them slowly, right? And we're going to get blood work every 8 weeks is how we'll do the blood work. Which this is going to result with better health markers, because we're also going to include our ancillaries and our supplements, right? Everything that keeps you healthy. And make sure that we're monitoring our levels, making sure everything looks good. And this is going to result in lean muscle, more strength build, and then optimized hormones, right? Because what we need here is is health. Health is the most important part of this if you're going to be using these compounds. Now we're going to go to dominate, right? We're going to lock it the fuck in, baby. So we want to keep our physique long term, right? We don't want to just get these gains and then just lose it. And that can happen to a lot of people, actually. Believe it or not, it does happen. Some people PCT too soon. Some people just don't train hard enough when they come off their compounds and they end up losing their physique, which is literally the worst. So our goal is to keep that physique long term. We're going to maintain that muscle and control body fat. And then we're going to do ongoing health monitoring and making sure we're going to have no rebound and no guessing. So this is going to be, the goal of this is to create a physique you can control and not chase. So by keeping this long term, like I said, eventually we will have to come off these compounds, but the way we keep the physique intact is we're going to be training as hard as we possibly can, lifting as heavy as we can, as many reps as we can at all times, and making sure that our diet's in check. So really just making sure everything is locked in. Then as we come off, right, we're going to do blood work again with 8 weeks after we've come off cycle. And that's just to make sure we're bringing our levels to baseline and we're looking good. That way, either you can PCT off or you can go for another blast because you want to make sure that you are primed and ready and responsive for your body to go into a new blast. And coming off, right, off either a bulk or a cut, right? Hey, let's just say for a cut. So for me, when I came off my bodybuilding show, we needed no rebound. We didn't want to rebound. I didn't want to gain all the fat back. So you have to slowly reverse diet. So we slowly introduce calories week by week. That way we can start maintaining our weight, filling back in, and feeling good. So, and that's the way you'll do it from a cut. And the bulk, right? Let's just say we stop at a bulk. We're going to get to our peak bulk, and then we're going to cut down, right? But we're going to make sure we're training hard and not cutting too fast so that we can maintain the muscle that we've gained and the tissue that we've maintained. Because that's the goal, right? We didn't get all big and put all these compounds in our body and just throw it all away, right? We want to keep the physique. We want to make sure it's locked in. So these are the results, right? So as I said, I showed you guys before right here, I started too big. I was skinny fat. About 200 pounds here. And then at the end of my bulk, right here, we are about 245. And here are the results, right? This is what we want to see. I mean, look at that, dude. I'm fucking shredded, bro. Six-pack, everything. Like, it was awesome. Best shape I've ever been in my life. But here's the results, right? We lost 70 pounds. I built muscle. My energy skyrocketed. Got the hormones dialed in. And my physique finally matched the effort I was putting in. Because that's what it's about, guys. For me. If you can't if you're someone like me that was working so hard and you're still just not getting the results that you want, it's like demoralizing. So this is why I created the parabellum protocol, was because I was sick and tired of not getting the results, right? And I learned how to get them with hiring a coach, and now I help people do the same to get the results that they want. All right, and then this, we're going to bring you here, right? So we got two options, right? This is what you got. You got two options. You can guess your way through fat loss and bulking like I did for years, right? And you can run gear without blood work and just kind of test and see what happens. Copy cycles from the internet, which I always recommend do not do. And you can wreck your hormones and health. You can definitely do that, right? Not a good idea, in my opinion. Or you can follow a proven system like the parabellum protocol, where we'll use blood work to guide decisions. We're going to optimize your hormones instead of abusing them, and build muscle with precision. And we're going to have a coach, me, that's already made the mistakes. And this doesn't just go for gear. We can be using peptides, all those as well. I'm experienced in both of these. So, guys, this is the parabellum protocol. It's built for men who want fat loss, muscle, and performance, right? With or without gear, it's done the right way. So we do it with gear, we do it without gear. Natty athletes are involved. Training, nutrition, hormones, and habits that are all aligned, right? This is a system for everyone to use to get you the best physique you want. You've created. This is to give you the best physique you've ever wanted. And then we're going to do no more guessing. There's no more spinning wheels at this, right? No more self-destruction, hurting your fucking blood markers and everything. If you want real results, you don't need a coach. Wow. If you want real results, you don't need more information. The information is all out there, right? You can have ChatGPT create your workout plan, create your nutrition plan, and a gear plan if you really want to, right? You could do that. But you can make mistakes doing that, right? The information is all out there. What you need is a system and a coach and accountability to keep you in check when it comes to these things, especially when you're playing with compounds, right? So, if this is something that you are interested in and you feel like you kind of have an idea of what the parabellum protocol entails and that what you want to do, and this is what you want to do, go ahead. My Typeform link is at the bottom of this video, and book a call with me, and we will lock you in and get you the physique that you have always dreamed of. Thank you all for listening. I hope you guys learned something.